You're rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body full of tats.
Today was an important moment for Jack Miller, the Pramac Yamaha team rider, who took to the track to test Yamaha's latest V4 machine. This test was conducted at the manufacturer's official circuit as part of the development of next season's motorcycle technology. Jack Miller looks enthusiastic and focused when trying out the performance of the V4 engine, which is predicted to bring big changes to Yamaha in the MotoGP competition. This is an interesting step, considering that Yamaha was previously known to be consistent with the inline-4 engine configuration. In a test session that lasted from morning to noon, Miller had recorded competitive lap times, although not yet optimal because adjustments were still being made. My first impression is quite positive. This machine clearly has great potential, especially in terms of acceleration out of corners. There are still some things that need to be refined, but the direction is very good, Miller said after the session. Yamaha also confirmed that the results of this test will be further evaluated as part of preparations for the upcoming racing season. And here's the full news. Jack Miller, the Pramac Yamaha satellite team rider, took center stage in the MotoGP world today after taking to the track to test Yamaha's latest V4 engine prototype. The test marks a new chapter in Yamaha's motorcycle development history, which for years has been synonymous with inline-4 engines. The test was conducted behind closed doors at Yamaha's Valencia circuit. Miller, who has extensive experience on V4 engine bikes with Ducati and KTM, was entrusted with providing early technical feedback on the performance of the engine under development. Yamaha's move to develop a V4 engine is a strong signal that the Iwata-based manufacturer is undergoing a major transformation in its technical philosophy. In recent seasons, Yamaha has begun to fall behind its main rivals, especially Ducati and KTM, who have successfully maximized the advantages of the V4 engine in terms of acceleration and speed on the straights. Meanwhile, Yamaha, while known to excel in handling and corner agility, has begun to struggle to match the raw power offered by the V4 configuration. Today's test was an important moment. Jack Miller was involved right from the morning, attending the technical briefing and doing some tuning sessions before trying out the bike on the track. The new engine sounded much deeper and more aggressive than Yamaha's famously smooth inline-4. In the test session, Miller completed more than 40 laps, with the main focus on collecting data and evaluating the basic performance of the machine. My initial impressions are very positive, Miller told the media after the session. This engine has a different power character, especially when exiting corners. The acceleration is much stronger than the previous Yamaha bike. But of course, it's still early days. We are still tinkering with the mapping, engine brake, and traction control. Yamaha said that the V4 engine project has actually been developed internally for the last 2 years, but only now have they started open testing with active riders. Jack Miller was chosen because of his ability to provide accurate technical input, as well as his experience racing with various engine configurations. This change is not just about changing the engine, said one Yamaha engineer. It's a total change in the character of the bike, from the frame, to the aerodynamics, to the electronic system. But we believe this is the right direction. However, Yamaha emphasized that the V4 engine will not necessarily be used directly for next season. The final decision will be made after a number of further tests are carried out, including with the factory team's main riders such as Fabio Quartararo and Alex Rins. Data from today's session will be analyzed in depth to determine the next step of development. For Miller himself, this opportunity is not just about trying out the new machine, but also potentially cementing his role in Yamaha's long-term development project. Not a few speculate that if the results are satisfactory, Miller could be plotted as an official test rider or even return to Yamaha's first team in the event of a change in the driver lineup in the coming season. Yamaha's move also received a positive response from many MotoGP observers, who considered that this was the time for Yamaha to get out of its comfort zone and pursue its peak performance again. Some call this the most important moment since the era of Valentino Rossi brought Yamaha to the peak of glory in the mid-2000s. With the start of V4 engine testing, Yamaha seems truly ready to turn over a new leaf. The MotoGP world is now waiting to see if this move will lead them back to winning ways, or if it will present a new and greater challenge. One thing is certain, Yamaha's new era has begun. The night at Losail, Qatar, was a silent witness to two very different stories from the Yamaha camp in the opening series of MotoGP 2025. On the one hand, Fabio Quartararo stood tall on the podium, bringing pride to the factory Yamaha team after a consistent and competitive performance throughout the race. But on the other hand, Jack Miller, the new Pramac Yamaha satellite team rider, walked off the track with his head down, helmet still on, and a sense of disappointment that he could not hide. Jack Miller, who returned to Yamaha after adventures with Ducati and KTM, started this season with high expectations. Many hoped that his presence could strengthen Yamaha's front line, especially with his aggressive racing style and long experience in the Premier class. But the reality in Qatar was far from sweet. Since Friday, Miller has struggled to find a rhythm. The satellite version of his YZR M1 bike didn't give him the confidence he needed, especially going into fast corners, one of his strengths. In the practice sessions, he was outside the top 10. In the qualifying session, he could only manage a starting position outside the front two rows. And when the starting lights went out, Miller tried to play aggressively, but struggled to maintain the stability of his bike. The catastrophe came on lap 11. While trying to overtake and close the gap to the middle group, Miller lost front tire grip when entering turn 6. The bike skidded, and he was thrown into the gravel. The race finished early for him. I'm really disappointed. We worked hard all weekend, but the results were not as expected. To be honest, I'm not yet one with this bike. It feels like I'm still learning from scratch, Miller said in an honest tone when interviewed in the paddock after the race. Furthermore, he explained that the difference in character between the Yamaha and the previous bikes he rode was very pronounced. This bike is smoother, more demanding of precision in every corner. My racing style, which tends to be aggressive, sometimes doesn't fit, and I have to learn to change my approach, he added. Interestingly, when Miller struggled with adaptation, Fabio Quartararo showed the opposite. The Yamaha factory rider looked comfortable from the start. He set fast times in practice and qualifying sessions, then appeared calm but firm in the race. He managed to keep his rhythm, avoid mistakes, and eventually get on the podium, a perfect start to the season for the Frenchman. I feel the bike is more stable this season, especially when braking and exiting corners. The team did a great job during pre-season, and today's result proves that our hard work was not in vain, said a happy Quartararo. When asked about the difference in performance between himself and Miller, Fabio was reluctant to comment too much. But he believes Miller just needs time. Jack is a great racer. I know he can be fast. I'm sure after a few series he will start to find his best touch, Fabio said briefly but empathetically. Now Jack Miller faces a big challenge. He must catch up in a relatively short time. The next series in Portimão, Portugal, will be his next test. On a technical track that demands precision and high confidence, Miller is required to show progress. Pramac Yamaha team manager also spoke up about this situation. He stated that the team fully supports Miller and will not make hasty decisions. Jack is a talented rider. We know this season will not be easy, especially with a new bike and different technical challenges. But we believe in the process and his hard work, he said. Between two fates and a long hope. MotoGP always presents unexpected drama and dynamics. What Jack Miller experienced in Qatar is an illustration that not all journeys start perfectly. On the other hand, Fabio Quartararo's performance is proof that Yamaha can still be competitive, at least in the right hands. The season is still long. For Miller, this is just the first step in a long struggle to prove that he deserves to compete on the front row. And for MotoGP fans, this story has only just begun.
Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Casamigos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on that tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine. Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by Satan. She got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase, Casamigos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on a tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine.